Hello, everybody. Craig DeLuz once again coming at you from FPC HQ. We are talking fire mission. We are talking Brett Kavanaugh. We are talking Supreme Court Justice confirmation. Those of you who have not been following, there's a lot going on today. The Senate voted this morning in order to end debate. So within 30 hours of that vote, the Senate will be voting whether or not to confirm Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court. Now, there are a number of folks out there who are considered swing votes. One of those was Senator Susan Collins. She came out and gave a riveting, an absolutely positively detailed, riveting speech on the floor of the Senate to kind of outline her position when it comes to Brett Kavanaugh. She talked some about the allegations, and she talked also about his judicial philosophy and how she arrived at her particular decision. The clip I wanted to play for you right now was specifically where she was talking about the allegations and why she's taking the position that she is taking as it relates to the allegations against Brett Kavanaugh of sexual abuse. Check it out.
Mr. President, the Constitution does not provide guidance on how we are supposed to evaluate these competing claims. It leaves that decision up to each senator. This is not a criminal trial, and I do not believe that the claims such as these need to be proved beyond a reasonable doubt. Nevertheless, fairness would dictate that the claims at least should meet a threshold of more likely than not as our standard. The facts presented do not mean that Professor Ford was not sexually assaulted that night or at some other time, but they do lead me to conclude that the allegations failed to meet the more likely than not standard. Therefore, I do not believe that these charges can fairly prevent Judge Kavanaugh from serving on the court.
Okay, so clearly what she's pointing out here is that she is going to be supporting Brett Kavanaugh's nomination, and she's not opposed she's not doing so because she doesn't believe that something went on. She's just saying that, look, in our system, there's this standard that's supposed to be met. That standard should, at the very least, be you got to prove something. And it wasn't just that the accusations that were made, it wasn't simply because they were made is not enough. It's not like what what's-his-face, Cory Booker said, well, simply because there's accusations, he should be disqualified. No, even outside of a court of law, we generally, as a matter of fairness, say you got to prove something. You at least have to come with some sort of evidence. And she even lowered the standard or of what it would be. No, normally in a criminal court case, it would be clear and convincing evidence. In this case, where all she's talking about is, look, more likely than not. And these allegations, and you can go back and we'll put a link to the speech so that you can see her entire speech. But you can see there is absolutely zero corroboration. In fact, information has come out afterwards that would lead one to believe that would cause one to even question what happened even more, be even more likely to say, nah, we're not going to do this. Now, mind you, there are a lot of people who are upset with Senator Collins. In fact, there's a bunch of people that all day have been right outside of her office. They're all over the Capitol, all over Washington, but particularly there's a bunch of them outside of her office. In fact, here's a group of them now. And then following her presentation, Democrat Joe Manchin announced his position on where he was going to be regarding the nomination regarding the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh, and you can see that, well, the protesters, you can see how they felt about him taking his position as well.
John, let me just stop you for a second. Joe Manchin is speaking. He's just announced his support for Brett Kavanaugh.
I knew when I saw she was going to do that. I said, it's fine. I watched it. And then I made my decision, and I gave my reasons for my decision. Ours went out, and we want to make sure.
Are you listen to the people here? Are
Sure. No, I'm very much concerned, basically, with the sexual abuse that people have had to endure, and very much concerned that we have to do something as a country. But I had to deal with the facts I had in front of me.
Would you have been willing to be the 50th vote for Judge Kavanaugh?
I just, I never thought of it basically 50, 51, 52, whatever would have happened. I says, I had to do one vote on the facts I had in front of me. If I had.
So, as you can see, they're not very happy about the fact that Joe Manchin will be the only Democrat, at least at this point, who will be supporting the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh. And you can see that they're willing to do everything and anything in order to oppose him. But we all know that, this should come as no surprise. And it really didn't matter who the nominee was, because people, the people on the left, the anti-Trump left, the people, I don't even call it the anti-Trump left. Let's just say people who don't want a Supreme Court justice who's actually going to make decisions based on the Constitution, they are the people who are leading this charge. And it really didn't matter to them who the nominee was. They were already dead set in the direction that they were going to be going. And in fact, Susan Collins made that very point in her presentation today. Once again, it was just right on. And this is actually how she started the conversation about Brett Kavanaugh.
The president nominated Brett Kavanaugh on July 9th. Within moments of that announcement, special interest groups raced to be the first to oppose him, including one organization that didn't even bother to fill in the judge's name on its pre-written press release. They simply wrote that they opposed Donald Trump's nomination of XX to the Supreme Court of the United States. A number of senators joined the race to announce their opposition, but they were beaten to the punch by one of our colleagues who actually announced opposition before the nominee's identity was even known. Since that time, we have seen special interest groups whip their followers into a frenzy by spreading misrepresentations and outright falsehoods about Judge Kavanaugh's judicial record. Over-the-top rhetoric and distortions of his record and testimony at his first hearing produced short-lived headlines which, although debunked hours later, continued to live on and be spread.
Exactly. Continue to live on and be spread throughout social media. It is the fact is that Brett Kavanaugh has had to endure more than just about any other Supreme Court nominee. But then again, the anti-gun community, the people who don't believe in the Second Amendment, the people who don't believe in the rule of law, the people who want to use the Supreme Court to beat us over the head with their own values and belief in morality. They don't really believe in morality. But anyway, the point that I'm making here, folks, is simply this. The people who want to take away our rights, they did it with Justice Bork. They were almost successful with Bork. They tried to do it again with Clarence Thomas, and now here it is. They've tripled down, and they're doing anything they can in order to get in the way. So we need to make sure that our voice is heard, that your voice is heard. If you haven't already done so, follow the link in the description of this video. Get the word out. Let the Senate know that you want them to confirm Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court of these United States. It's that simple. Just take a minute to get her done, and then hopefully we'll have an opportunity to celebrate come Sunday. Take care, y'all.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.